Hey y'all, let's talk 90 Day Fiance, Happily Ever After, Season 9, Episode 9, Shaken, Not Stirred. Y'all, if this is your first time being here, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And to all of my new subscribers, thank you all so much for hitting that subscribe button and joining this family. To all of my nieces, nephews, and my members who have been here with me for the long haul. Thank you all so much for your continued support. So, look, tonight I had the opportunity to watch this dumb show, 90 Day Fiancé. And I just got a few things that I have to get off my mind tonight. I can't even wait until tomorrow because I'm almost feeling as if I watched this episode right and I don't remember anything that happened. Hello there, Giselle. Thank you so much for coming in, honey. Um, yes, thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate you, sweetie. So look, so we open up this episode. Um, let's just talk. I'm just gonna talk about the different couples, okay? So let's talk about Jasmine and Matt. So Jasmine and Matt are trying to act as this. Hey, Wendy from y'all. Hey, Ray Della. Hey, GS, y'all. I'm just trying to get this off my chest, honey, because I just was like, okay, I got to talk to somebody about this. So Matt is acting like he is just so in love with Jasmine, and Jasmine is acting as if she is so in love with Gino. I am so like lately these shows. Hey, Barbara. Hey, Elizabeth. Like these shows are really, really making me question everything about them. That these are actually scripted actors. And this is why we are not evolving, y'all. Why we are not going to something else. Like I don't have an understanding. So, Matt takes Jasmine out, like on a little date and everything to show her the city. She act as if Gino hasn't already done this, and if Gino hasn't already done this, maybe his cousins have done it. I don't know, but she is acting as if this is the first time she has ever seen the city, and so he takes her horseback riding. And well, not horseback riding, but she was in a carriage, and he takes the ring off of her finger and puts it in her hand, and basically, I guess this is his way of trying to woo her and let her know that he really is there. The more and more that I see Matt, the more unattractive he becomes to me. And I'm sorry, I just can't get Gino's comment out of my mind about how sure he is. It's just some bull crap that's going on. We were led to believe last episode, right, that was going to threaten immigration, calling immigration on her. I didn't see that this week, y'all. I don't know if I probably missed that part of the show. I don't know, but it's just a hot mess. All right, next we got Guillermo and Kara, right? And last week we saw him having a heart-to-heart talk with his mother in Venezuela, and she suggested that he take her out on a date. So she has been overseas, making music and everything. She said, she got it done, and we saw a little clip of it and everything. And so, she is coming back. And so he has a weekend date planned for the two of them, and the two of them are excited about it. He wants to see whether or not there's just still, something that's there between the two of them. And so he drives over to her house and everything, and the two of them are coordinated. And, they begin to, go off on their little trip and everything. And so while they're in, he sees how beautiful she is, and he does make mention of that. And so they're driving off and they're making like a little short, little small talk with each other, kind of being flirtatious and stuff like that. And, okay, let me not say we. I had hoped for them, right? Thinking, everything is lovely and stuff like that. They go to look like a little a bed and breakfast, and they're having, some food to eat, and they're drinking and stuff like that. And he has just, planned out this whole entire trip. And he feels like, this is a way for them to reconnect. You can tell that, they basically got love making on their mind, both of them, because they're really flirtatious. When he asked her while they were driving in the car, he had asked her, about, the relationship, how she felt, where she was, all that kind of stuff. And she started crying in the car, and she's not really ready to talk about it with him until she, of course, gets those shots and gets that alcohol in her. Yes, GS said, me too. Matt seems shorter and shorter every time I see them. Absolutely. And you're like, you can't get that out of your mind. At the time, I didn't think that it was a read from Gino, but let me tell you, that ended up being a read. So, the two of them get back to the hotel and everything, and he says that, he's pulling out all the stops, and he has like a little heart, made of flowers on the bed for her and everything. And like I'm just thinking that, there's some hope, but it looks like, there isn't any hope, and that she brings up and asks him, in the next episode, whether or not he has slept with someone, and she says, tell me to my face. Now, of course, we know a lot of this is censored and is cut and is edited and X, Y, and Z. So I don't know if the two of those things go together, but I just have a feeling that she's going to sabotage this relationship with him. And I'm just like, okay, like, Now, on the other side, Tiger Lily has her baby. I don't know if this is an auntie thing. I don't think this is an auntie thing. But one of the things that I don't like that people do is say the baby has a whole lot of hair. I don't like that. Um, I feel like it's something that myself and a lot of other people have heard about black children. And I know that I used to, people used to see my baby and be like, oh my gosh, she's got so much hair. And I'm thinking, what? So when people say it, I don't know if it's past things that I have heard and seen people do. And I'm thinking all children don't come out bald headed. I don't know why y'all. I don't know why y'all help me think about it in the comment section. It just really bothers me when people say things like that about babies' hair. All children don't come out bald headed. And I don't understand what the big deal is. It's a baby. But anyway, they bring the baby in, and Arnett is praying over the baby and singing over the baby and stuff like that. And she's getting relaxed now. She gets to eat. She's ordering off the menu X, Y, and Z. And it just seemed, I don't know, the prayers that he was praying over the baby. I'm not familiar with his religion or with their traditions as it relates to them having their baby, but he said that they, usually pray over the baby, sing over the baby, and stuff like that. Um, so Wendy, Wendy's front yard said when babies are born with loss of hair, I hear people mention it, and I don't know why. I don't know why. It's just a thing that I've heard, and I can't stand it. I don't know where that comes from, where that has originated from, why people believe that babies are born with a little bit of hair, and whether or not they're born with a little bit. Like, what's the phenomenon of a baby being birthed with a lot of hair? Like, I don't understand how that's unusual. Or I don't know. I think it's just probably me. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything about it. We can have a comment. I mean, we can talk about it and dialogue about it in the comment section, but I just don't understand what the phenomenon is. Are babies supposed to be born with no hair? Oh, God, I can't stand that. But who is Wendy? Who's the who? So Gia said, my mom said I had a lot of hair when I was born. I've seen pics. I did. So that's what I'm asking. GS, were you supposed to be like bald headed? And what's a lot of hair? More than my sis. We are white. I say that because we're talking about color of baby. Love you, Auntie Coach you live. Love you too, babe. But that's what I'm saying. I don't understand why that's a thing. I don't understand why that's a thing. I just don't. I don't know. Anyway, anyway, y'all sound off because I would love to see why that's a thing. I just don't understand why that's a thing. But okay. Thank you, Boo, for letting me know. Um, but why is it a thing that we even recognize that? That's what I'm asking. I understand what you said. You said no, I had lots of hair. I read that. Some babies have less than others, but I don't understand why that's a thing. Okay, so why is that a thing? Why is hair a thing? Is it unusual? What is a little bit of hair? Now I know what a bald head is. What is a little bit of hair, medium hair, a lot of hair? Is it the length? Are we like measuring the hair? I don't know. Let me just get off of it before let me get off of that. I just don't understand why that's a thing. So that we just so what do we? It's just a description. It's just a description. I've never heard that. Like some people, Gia said, oh, like some people say, my baby's nails are long while other babies' nails aren't. I've never heard that. I've never heard that. For black people, some people want to see how fast the baby's hair will grow or if the mother was nauseous. A lot of it's a superstition that the baby will grow lots of hair, so they want to see. Yeah, me either, Wendy. I ain't never heard of that. Wendy said, oh, haven't heard about the nails. Me either. Me, I have never heard that. That's a new one. Yeah, I ain't never heard that. Anyway, Tiger Lily baby isn't, I guess they said the baby was cute, had 5 fingers and 10 fingers and 10 toes. They, I don't think they talked about the weight or anything like that. How much the baby weighed? Was it somebody in the family? Like was it 7 pounds, 8 pounds, 9 pounds? Like I guess those things aren't relevant. Um, like I don't know, but they talk about the hair. I don't get it. I just don't get it. And that may just be me being an older woman. Like, who cares about the hair? Like, who cares about the hair? But okay. All right. So let me think. What couple was I at? So I did Guillermo and Kara, and I did Tiger Lily and Adnan having their baby. And I talked about Matt and Jasmine, which is so boring. It's so played out for me. It's just very, very played out for me, and I'm tired. We know that Jasmine ended up staying with Matt and that she had a baby. But wait a minute, this is the thing, the kicker. And maybe I should do a different video for that tomorrow. Jasmine is going around telling people, child, that she got a little bit of she this is stuff. Jasmine is telling people that she is Jamaican and African heritage, and I'm just done. Since when? Jasmine has always said that she was. I pulled it up on ChatGPT and I can't pull it up now. But I'll do a separate video about it because I'm just like, so when did Jasmine have African roots? When is Jasmine had Jamaican roots? I'm so sick of people. I'm so sick of people with the BS and the bullshit. I can't do it. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. But anyway, I digress. The next couple I want to talk about is Yar and Jovi. Of course, we all know that Yar has been selling um and or producing. Not sure if she's selling, but producing dog accessories. So we see her get to the venue where she's going to be having it. She has the dog with her. I don't know where Jovi and the baby are, but maybe she's just arriving early in order to set up everything. She ties the dog to some furniture and then leaves and goes in her car. And I was like, that just wasn't smart. A pet owner knows that you don't tie your dog to anything and leave. And I would not be surprised if the girls and the boys who are pet lovers and advocates for pets don't tear her up for that. I was shocked that she would do something like that on national television. Um, I am very, very cognizant of the danger of. No, I did not, Wendy. No, I didn't hear about that. Wendy said, "Auntie, did you see Jasmine was featured in an art show a few months ago for African American mothers?" Mm-mm, I ain't see it. But she'll appropriate anybody's race. I don't think she wants to be what she is. So, I mean, if she turns up next week being something else, walking around with, you know, as a Jamaican, I ain't gonna be shocked. I ain't gonna be shocked. Whatever Jasmine think is gonna work. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, Jasmine is not white. Mm-mm. Um, I'll pull up the. You know what? I'll do a video up tomorrow, and I'll bring up all the sources where Jasmine has mentioned where she is, and so we'll talk about it tomorrow. Wasn't sure y'all wanted to see that or hear that, but right. Wendy's front yard said she's buy everything when it's convenient. Absolutely, I totally agree with you on that, Wendy. But anyway, Yara has this dog. She leaves the dog unattended to go to her car to get products that she wants to sell. Um, and I just was like, I don't know if the people gonna tear her up or not, but you don't ever leave a dog unattended for that amount of time, especially while being on a leash, and that may be being, the dog is being held down by an object or something. Like that's just not what you do. And when you are a dog lover, you don't want to tie your dog down like that. Um, if my dogs are on a leash, my eyes are on them and my hand is attached to that leash and I don't let go. But this dog, in my opinion, is being used as a prop to sell dog stuff. Barbara says, that's right, Auntie. Also, I have a tiny dog. Like yours should have a harness, absolutely, and not a leash around their neck. Not around the neck. I've had three vets tell me that their neck, etc., can easily be injured. I know you meant to say that. Don't think y'all knows about the. She doesn't because, in my opinion, she's using the dog as a prop to sell dog products. This is what she wanted to do. Her husband had mentioned to her, how you gonna sell and make dog products and you don't have one, so she got one. The dog looked very scruffy and it really looked like it needed some serious grooming. And I was like, it's unfortunate if she is using this dog as a prop. It looks like that to me. I can't say whether or not she's attached to the dog or not, or her children are attached. But I just think it's just, a matter of convenience and wanting people to believe that she is a dog lover. Even the way that, she interacts with the dog, it just doesn't seem like there's a real true bond coming from her as it relates to the little dog. But I know for me, if my dog is on a leash, my hand is attached to the leash. And I know sometimes when, they come in from like a vet or from the dog park or from daycare or whatever, they'll walk into the door, like if I have something in my hand, but immediately I put it down and I take them off the leash because it could get caught under a door, under a piece of furniture, and now you really got a problem on your hand. And I'm gonna tell you, honey, the fastest way to get your ass locked up is to have a daggone dog that get hurt. Like they are quick to work on or to deal with someone who has injured a dog quicker than they will a human life. Um, she just uses it as a proper. She's putting her things up, and so Lauren comes to help her. Um, Yar is micromanaging. She had, said that she was grateful, Lord Jesus, for Jovi marrying her and bringing her to the United States, and she's making her coin. And I felt some kind of way about that as an American. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I think that this episode just wasn't, this episode was kind of iffy for me. It was a lot of things that I thought happened that I did not like happening, but I'm going to digress on it. And then you know what? Probably tomorrow, probably gonna come out with a whole different. Like I need to probably see it again, but I just was like, So people start arriving at her thing. Like I said, Lauren came to help her, and people would start arriving and everything, and nobody, was interested in the bag for a dog that's bigger. There was some other suggestions made about her product. I don't know whether or not she's interested in doing or getting the information from them as to what they really need for, because I think that she has just her set products that she believes is going to sell. Maybe Jovi did some research for her and said these are the main things that carry dog carrier cases, but my dogs are 50 pounds a piece, and so there's no way in the world anything that she had on it would be appealing to me. Not a leash, not a collar, nothing would be appealing to me that she's selling. I think that she probably would have did better if she sold doggy toys, right? Because for those girls like myself, we are always buying clothes. Like for Halloween this year, the girls are going to be dressed up differently. We're trying to figure out how we're going to dress them, but each year we dress them different. The year before last, they was the Bride of Chucky. Last year, they were both ballerinas. And so we're always switching, but we love to put them on them no matter how big they are. And then we take the time too to make sure that it matches their hair color and stuff like that. So I mean, I noticed her dog didn't have on any clothing, like a little shirt or a dress or something like that. And while the dog doesn't have that, again, a real true dog lover loves to dress up their dog. I know I do. I love to dress my dogs up. I make them look cute, and it's just pretty obvious. And so, you know, um, like I said, um, what you call 'em had gotten there early to help her set up, but she was micromanaging her and everything, right? And so I'm just like, let her do the stuff herself. We see people gradually coming in, and they're looking at her dog products and everything, and I just did not see anything that I would have wanted to support her in or purchase for my dog, especially given the fact that my dogs are 50, over 50 pounds each. And I think that as someone who was advertising for a dog and dog crates and dog this and dog that, the little trinket stuff that she was selling, in my opinion, she should have had dogs at different dog sizes, right? And had things that appeal to a dog who could not and would not go into a crate or some handheld. Can you imagine carrying around a 50-pound standard poodle? I ain't got it to do. Well, it's suppose you got a pit bull terrier or a dog that a chow or something like that. A Dalmatian. Like she's not appealing to all of the breeds of dogs. So I don't think that this business. I don't know how the business is going to do, but I don't know. I just know she thanked, him for marrying her and bringing her here to the United States so that she could prosper. Child, I was tired, done, and through with her attitude about the whole process. And I was like, I'm glad that I hate that I think she would have been better had she did it for like children. Like maybe a children's line of clothing or something like that, but leave the animals out of this. They ain't got nothing to do with this. They don't have no opposable thumbs. And so, we got to take care of our dogs for the rest of our lives, and we treat them like family because they are family. They become our kids. My dogs call me grandma, right? It's just it just rubbed me all kinds of the wrong way. And so, while she's there, the crew comes in, of course. This is the first time that they're going to be seeing Lauren. I mean, not Lauren. They're going to be seeing Libby and Andre. And so Andre comes in. He meets Jovi's mom and everything, and they're over there kicking the bobo and everything. But meantime, and in between time, on the other side of the facility, right, it's a whole different ball game going on because Lauren, her husband, right, yeah, Lauren and her husband met with Jovia Yar, and they were talking about the incident with the $75,000 that Libby was out. They all were sitting over there talking about her, about Andre. But for some reason, Libby wants to isolate and talk about like like uh, sh- like she wanted to seem like she just was on the attack with Lauren, and I just was like, why? This girl eyes about to buck out of her head because y'all went back and spread some tea, and in my opinion didn't get the tea right. She gave him an interpretation of what she said. So Libby comes to her debut for her animal products and makes a scene. I was like, wait a minute, what? This what we doing? This what we doing? I was completely shocked that Libby, who let her husband come in her home, kiss the kids, give her some flowers, and only thing that we heard her say, excuse me, y'all, I had to yawn. The only thing that we hear her say is that I'm going to be part of the business. But Yar goes back to tell her that she called her husband. Y'all, was it dumb? Was it stupid? Like, what did she say about him? I can't even think about it. It was so ridiculous. Oh, a horrible person. He is a horrible person. But she wants to take that and use that as a way to break off a relationship with Lauren. Lauren said, I may have called him a D, but I didn't say he was a horrible person. But Elizabeth still wants to argue and make this an issue. This isn't an issue, baby. Baby, this not an issue. I called your husband a D, and I told you that I did. And when they rolled back the beam footage, that's all she ever said. She did not say that her husband was a horrible person. And even if she did, that's her opinion. And then she says, I have heard many things from you, and I have been keeping your secrets, and I will never call your husband a horrible person. And there's so much that I know about you that I'm just ready to spill your tea because I feel like you disrespected me. So I'm gonna spill your tea. So she goes and confronts Alex and tell Alex, right? And I just was like, okay, what in the world is going on? Because it wasn't even like a tit for tat situation. Because Lauren was saying, if I said it, I don't remember. Only thing I remember is calling him a D for spending or losing $75,000 of your money. I'm taking your side. Like, what are we doing? I could not believe that this was an issue, y'all. And that Libby would come back all hyped up. Save that energy for Andre. Save that energy for him. Don't come at me with this bull crap. Then the next thing you know, she's up in the man's face, talk about how he body shamed her and all of that kind of stuff. And I was like, that was so wrong of her. Deal with your own husband in your own backyard. If you didn't like something that I said, let's have a conversation in a place where it's appropriate. First of all, Yara is out there trying to sell her products, and they out there fighting in front of all the customers or potential customers. What? I was like, wow. This was a lot. Let me see what y'all saying in the comment. I need to know how rich they are that Libby didn't even notice almost 100,000 K missing. Well, she knew, Wendy, that he had made the investment. She did not know that because of the war that the product, the property that they had purchased in order to flip it. Libby and her father thought that it was going to be like a traditional flip, but when they went in there, it was demolished. Right, the floors with the concrete floors were breaking all up and everything. The house was just hanging over, just a frame of a property. Um, I just was like, okay, this is just y'all. This was a mess of a show, and it felt so disjointed because, like, we never got conclusions to things. She stands out there, they get to argue and everything. Libby and Andre approach um her husband and basically tells him that they have secrets that they have kept concerning his wife, and now they really just spill the tea. No, you want to spill the tea all the time. That's why you got to make sure when you're serving tea that you know who your audience is, because Libby, for some reason, seems as if she just wants to be mad. Yara is going off because she's like, y'all arguing in front of my customers, which is right. She has customers all around there, potential customers, okay, people who are looking at the products that she sells and everything. And here we got this child misdirected, angry, right, because she feel like I just like what y'all what this where we at. I called your husband a horrible person, and now you in my face, and now you ready to spill all my tea and my beans. He is a horrible person because he is very ignorant about all things America. Because at the end of the day, he was fleeing his country to get here and happened to find somebody who loves him more than they love herself. Okay? I just was like, this is a mess. What other couple did I want to talk about? Andre, Yara, Darcy. Darcy is such an embarrassment to her husband. It's just a shame. They're going out to hunt wild boars, and she's got on a leather feather, a leather and feathered look like to me. She got that coat on, and she's going to hunt wild boars. I see y'all. She is such. Darcy is too old to be such an embarrassment to Georgie. Georgie don't know what to do. When he wakes up in the morning, she's squeezing his chest, and then she tells us how her husband slept. I was like, this is so inappropriate. He feels embarrassed. He didn't want her doing all of that stuff at his mother's house, and instead of her listening and having an apology on her lip, she wants to justify why what she did was right. To sit there and cry and the mother talk about, I thought like me and your mom had the bond. No, y'all don't have a bond. And so then she goes out with Georgie and Georgie and her and his dad, and she's just an embarrassment. She's walking around with her boots not being laced, and then wants to stop in the middle of the woods so that he can try to get a bug out of her shoe. He said, "That's why I told you you need to lace them up." And I think even the father said that. I just was like, well, what in the crap? You right, Elizabeth. Elizabeth said wanted to spill the tea. Yes, she wants the parents to know that they're having problems in their relationship. But of course, the parents haven't seen him in 13 years. When he leaves, it's no telling how much longer, and they don't want to know and want the burden of thinking every time they talk to him to ask him how's his relationship doing with a human blow up doll, because that's exactly what she's doing, sitting her butt out there trying to do mukbangs, and she know that her mouth look like butt cheeks. She know her lips look like butt cheeks, and she out there mukbanging for what? And now Stacy mukbanging, and they eating McDonald's French fries and milkshakes and trying different foods. Like, what are we doing here? I was like, okay. I guess some of the 90 Day Fiance fans love to see him doing the mukbangs, honey, because they sitting up on their butt on there smacking and eating and loud. You know what I'm saying? Now I know I chased the crumble cookies, and you do got to smack a little bit to taste it in that little short period of time and make an assessment over. But this is just overboard. I don't know who told the twin sisters that this was cute, but this is just not cute. The last but not least couple that I want to talk about, and I may come back out tomorrow after I've had a chance to cool down, was Brandon and Julia. Julia's parents are concerned because of how everything went down. Like, bottom line, they concerned about it. They don't feel like Brandon did the right thing, and I don't either. Like she told him, this is my parents' first time coming to America, and you leave and go and stay with your family. Brandon doesn't want to take any kind of responsibility over his poor decisions when his parents decided that they would leave. Let them bitches leave. I didn't even see them come back the second time. They didn't even come back. What they do, get in the car in the morning and go back home? Or are we going to see them later on in the episode? All Julia was trying to do was create boundaries and to let them know that, she just wasn't cool with what they did. It shouldn't have ever turned like this. But Brandon comes back. I guess he was supposed to stay at a hotel with his mother and his father. Brandon comes back and says, I gotta go and take a shower. Take a shower for what? You should have did that before you came over here. The parents are very concerned about her because they like, okay, this ain't going right. They're very concerned about her. And I would be too if it was my child. It's obvious that they got problems. And Joey was like, look, I want to talk to you about these problems outside of the earshot of my mom and my dad. We're all going to go out together. We're going to have the wedding. But for Brandon's parents, Miss Betty, to act the way that she acted, totally Totally unnecessary. So, the two of them have to go to the fertility clinic to get the results. And she doesn't want her parents to know. So she told Brandon, don't you say nothing on the way. I don't want my parents to know anything. We're going somewhere else and we're going to do something else. Don't say anything around my parents. So they get to the fertility clinic and they tell her, like they've told many women, that we're going to have to go in. And I believe y'all, they use another name for it, but I believe it's called a DNC, to go in and to scrape everything for her to clean it up in there, get rid of that polyp and all. They told her that it's common, it's not something that's unusual, and that this would help her with her fertility. No, nobody can guarantee that you're going to have a baby, but at least this will help you with the fertility and get you one step closer. And now Julia, who sat up there and went through this, is now saying, I've never been under anesthesia before, and so I don't want to have the procedure done. That will help my chances of me having a baby. Now, of course, we all know that they have just announced that they're pregnant. So it is my assumption that she had the polyp removed out of her. I'm hoping that the piece that they took out right is benign and that she is not cancerous or anything else, or there's nothing else right that's going on. And so here we got, thing one and thing two don't know really what they want to do with their relationship, but they want to be together. Okay, then let's be together and let's be on one accord. Let's have these real conversations. Julia is just spazzing out about the fact that she's going to have to go under anesthesia for the first time, and she doesn't know whether or not it's even worth it to find out whether or not she's fertility, she is able to have a baby or not. This was a mess. You right, Wendy. Wendy said she kept the pregnancy quiet for so long. Yes, she did. She had put a post out on Instagram today thanking people for the overwhelming amounts of gifts that she received. I think she must have had it Amazon. Excuse me, what most people do, they do an Amazon registry, and then because that can, that's spreading the net wider for her to be able to have different people, and then a lot of people do it with Target, right? They'll do a Target wish list and people will buy things off of that. So she had announced today, and she showed some pictures of all of the boxes and stuff like that she has received from people who have, after she disclosed that she is indeed pregnant. And I say, don't put the horse before the cart. No, don't put the cart before the horse. Because I do think that, women should get to be a certain trimester before they saw us disclosing. That's just my opinion. Anyway, let me see. Anything in here? I think that's it. I just wanted to stop by. I don't think this is going to be my official review, but I just wanted to stop by and give my first thoughts on this old dumb show. Like, this show is just getting so stupid. Anyway, I love y'all, Raydella. Thanks for logging on as the moderator. Y'all be good, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Love y'all. Bye.